go ahead and call the meeting to order. I will ask people for roll call. Deputy Mayor Campbell.
Present.
Councillor Humphreys.
Present.
And I'm present as counsel. And our public members, Susan.
I am present, thank you.
And Spencer.
Present.
And Tom made it on the button. Councillor, how about Webster?
Present. Sorry about that.
Thank you. Do we have any declaration of pecuniary interest? None? Confirmation of the council agenda. Moved by Deputy Mayor Campbell. Second, Councillor Webster. And we all, any discussion? Councillor Webster.
In favor?
Councillor Humphreys.
In favor.
Deputy Mayor Campbell.
In favor.
And I'm in favor. Tonight, we do have to appoint an acting clerk. Our clerk is tied up in a conference, and we need to appoint Nikki DeBow as acting clerk for the township, and I need a council vote on that. So do I have a mover and seconder? Councillor Humphreys, Deputy Mayor Campbell. Any discussion? Councillor Claroux has joined us. Councillor Webster.
I'm sure she'll do a great job. I'm in favor.
Okay. Deputy Mayor Campbell.
In favor.
Councillor Humphreys.
In favor.
Councillor Claroux.
In favor.
And I'm in favor. Thank you. You're going to leave them in right now, Nick? Okay. Tonight we have what is a delegation from ExploreNet. Terry and Robert are here to explain what they're going to do and how quickly they're going to do it. So I'll turn it over to Robert. I see he's on, and you can start her. I see Terry's on.
Yes, hello. I'm going to put on my, oh, here we go. Hi, everyone.
Hello, hello.
Is Terry on? Yes, Terry's
Yes.
on.
Yep.
Yeah. So let me, may I share my screen?
Certainly.
Can everyone see the screen?
We can.
Yeah, we're good.
Okay, good. Hi, and thank you for having us at your council meeting. Terry and I represent, we are external consultants for ExploreNet. Our organization, Roman, does the acquisition side of the business for telecom companies such as ExploreNet, Bell, and other companies. And we also do public municipal relations and public consultation following the choosing of a site. So the project we want to talk to you about today is high-speed internet by ExploreNet. So basically what it entails is giving a high-speed internet to the community through towers. So basically installing two communication towers of 45 meters in height, which will allow ExploreNet to give high-speed internet to all of the population, regardless of where they live. So be it if they have fiber optics going to the home or not, cabled or not, doesn't make a difference. So the advantage of putting up a tower is allows us to go the extra mile. Basically, it's a term that we use in telecom, the last mile being there where there's no cabling or fiber optics. So anyone who doesn't have fiber optics within the home could still adhere to the services of ExploreNet and get their high-speed internet. So basically, the way it works is people who want to subscribe to ExploreNet at the time, once the service is up, they will receive from ExploreNet a little antenna, a little square antenna that they put up on the roof. And inside the home, they'll have a little box like Bell, Videotron, Cogeco, what have you. And that box will give them TV, internet, and telephone. So like I said, the advantage is that they don't have to have fiber right to the home. In terms of the coverage, if you can see the coverage map that's here on my screen, is that big enough? Can everyone see that? Okay, so basically you have Renfrew North and you have Goshen here. So that's the two towers with two locations that we're looking at. The green is what we're proposing. So once these two towers are up, the green is going to be the coverage zone that is going to give the coverage for the high-speed internet. The blue, as you see here, is existing coverage right now. So if I were to take off the green here, you would notice that there's only gray or light gray, white, and there's no coverage for the high-speed internet. The two locations that we're looking at, the one which is on ON 7934, 1766 Lochwinnock Road. At this point, you have here a red circle. I can maybe enlarge it a little bit. That red circle is basically 150-meter radius. So for the public consultation, what we have to do is we have to draw up a document that we send to all of the property owners within 150-meter radius of the tower, which is 3 times the height of the tower. That is requested and required by CPC 20.03 from ISDE, Innovation, Science and Development Canada. So for this one here, you can see the radius of 150 meters. So we're basically touching, I think, 3 properties, one here, and another one that's right here. As for the next one over, which is the on Storyland Road, basically this is the 150-meter radius. I think, if I remember correctly, we're touching about 3 or 4 properties, including the one that we have the tower on. In terms of questions from that we received this morning, there were 4 questions. One was the radius, the lots that we would touch, we would just address, the coverage map, and the other 2 questions were what are the download and upload speeds for this high-speed internet? So it's 50 megabytes per second for the upload and 10 for the download and 10 for the upload. And the timeline to install the towers to get it operational is anywhere between 8 to 12 weeks following a municipal resolution and permitting and stuff like that. So basically we're looking at, if we were to do the public consultation, let's say in the next 2 weeks, that brings us to the end of July. By the time we do the soil tests and we get municipal resolution soil tests and what have you, we're looking at about 8 to 12 weeks down the road. So that would bring us to probably somewhere in September, end of September, beginning of October for construction. And then turning on the switch would probably be sometime in the beginning to mid-October. If we haven't answered all your questions, we're open to the questions period.
Okay, thank you very much. But council's questions, please. Councillor Webster. Could I ask you to take your shared screen off, please?
Yes, absolutely.
Great, thank you, Mayor. Looking forward to this for the residents of Horton to get high-speed internet. A question, so I just want clarification now, because I've done this in the town of Renfrew, this tower thing. So how is it being supported? Is it guy wires that are going down?
No, it's not guy wires. It's basically, it's a self-support tower. So it's basically a triangle type tower.
Okay.
And it's a self-support. So just it's sitting on a base and it's right there. There's going to be a cabinet at the base also with the equipment on inside the cabinet. So there's no guy wires.
Okay.
The space that we take is about 15 meters by 15 meters for the whole compound, including the tower and the shelter.
No, that's great. And then public consultation, you'll advertise in the paper and all that.
Yes, the public consultation, what we do is we'll send a document to the landowners within 3 times the height of the tower. And there's going to be an ad in the paper, a public announcement in the paper, so that the whole population could write in and ask their questions, comments, concerns, what have you. And then we have 14 days to acknowledge receipt of their comments. And we have 60 days to answer. But within the 14 days, we usually acknowledge the receipt and answer at the same time. Now, we could give you an overview of the kinds of questions and stuff that we had during the public consultation at the end of the said public consultation.
Yeah, that would be great. And then in regards to lease, like rental of the land, leasing of the land, do you work out that with the landowners, or how
Yes.
does that work?
Yeah, that's a lease that we signed with the landowner. It's a 25-year lease to secure the land. So 25-year lease, and then usually we'll, depending on what happens in 25 years, we don't know right now, but if everything goes according to plan and the service is continued following that, then it would just renew the lease following 25 years.
No, great. Thank you, Robert.
Thank you.
Councillor Humphries.
Yes, Robert, I just noticed the one on Lockwinner Road, there's really no residents to be affected in your zone. I know that you're on different properties, but is it more important to worry about the residents or just farmland? Like, you're really not touching any properties over near Nesbitt's Pit there. So I'm just wondering if you have to worry about that,
Just
the actual landowners and that effect rather than residents.
It's more the landowners, whether there's a home on the property or not. I mean, the property owner is to be notified that there's a tower coming up within a certain distance. So we want to make sure that everybody's aware, so it's not a surprise to anybody.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions of council? I'm going to ask Nikki, Nikki, is there any planning issues as far as the municipality goes to put power towers onto their property?
So no, I was in contact with Lindsay Bennett from the county, and she said that section 3.26 of our zoning bylaw for public services allows it. So that's what we would go by then for each zoning of the properties.
Okay, so this could move ahead real quickly then without any hiccups here. So, do we still have in our building bylaw fee for putting towers up?
I believe so. Let me double check that. It's actually in this package. Hold on one second.
Councillor Carew.
Maybe while she's finding that, I just wanted to add, yeah, it's always good to see companies trying to invest in Horton Township and give residents, some competition, and even, and in this case here, we always hear from Goshen Road, for one example, that there's, there's lack of even any services. So it appears from the map that they will be covered. And it's always good to have more competition, even for the other companies. Always good to have more than one selection. So
Happy to hear it.
Thank you. Councillor Humphries.
Yes, I just want to ask, where is your existing towers right now? Are they on the pinnacle?
I would have to get a map for that. But if we go back to, if you don't mind my sharing 1 second again.
Certainly, go ahead.
If we go to this map here, I would gather, and I don't have the exact locations, but if we look at this coverage map here, based on the fact that the tower gives a 360-degree radius of coverage, I would figure that the tower is somewhere in this area here.
Yeah.
And one would probably be in this area here, the general area here. And there's another one in this area here. So I don't know the territory very well. You probably know it much better than I do.
Okay.
Gives you a bit of an idea. Where you see the white or the light gray is probably other search areas or future towers that will be going up. There might even be some projects that Terry or other consultants are working on right now with some municipalities. We haven't put those up yet because we don't have the towers up yet.
Did you get anywhere there, Nick?
Yeah, so for transmitter tower over 30 feet, it's $5,000.
What is that $5,000 fee?
It's for the building permit to allow the tower on the property. So it would have to be applied for and then approved by our chief building official,
Okay,
and then the fee would have to be paid.
okay. That shouldn't be a problem. I mean, the towers, communication towers are federally, are under federal jurisdiction. They're not usually held to municipal or provincial bylaw. However, the companies will always abide and make sure that we collaborate with the municipalities. So those fees will be covered by ExploreNet.
Okay, Councillor Carew.
Sorry, one more question I should have asked prior. So the tower will be owned by ExploreNet or by a third party?
By ExploreNet. The tower is built and owned and operated by ExploreNet.
Okay, thank you.
Spencer?
Yeah, just a couple of quick questions. So you're saying that your backhaul site is not going to change from Pinnacle?
The backhaul site, if you could just explain this, sorry.
In other words, these towers are going to feed to your tower on the Pinnacle Hill?
Yes, yes, they have line of sight to the different towers.
Okay. I guess the other thing, you said that your antenna pattern is going to be omnidirectional?
Yes.
Okay, and third, are you covered, based on this type of service, are you covered to permit co-location of competitors on this site?
Absolutely. Honestly, you know, you can ask any telecom company, and if ever they tell you they do not adhere to co-location, they're in trouble because it's basically law in Canada. We have to co-locate wherever possible. So before even putting up a tower, we're going to look around and see if there's another structure in the area that would give us that coverage. And if there's no tower high enough or structure high enough to give us that coverage, then basically we'll go out and meet the municipality and propose a new structure. So yes, the answer is yes. If another company needs service in the area and the height of the tower, the structure permits it, then they can request co-location and it would be approved.
Okay, and finally, would you be willing to share your topographical map prediction coverage?
That is a question that I would have to ask. The one that I sent, that I just shared here?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, sure, no problem. That's not an issue. I can actually send the presentation to Nikki following this meeting.
Okay, the question really is primarily more for where the Ottawa River is surrounded by rather a significant drop into the river valley itself, and it might be useful for us to know if someone who is on, let's say, River Road, which abuts the river, what type of predictive coverage could they expect? And that would be quite useful.
Yeah, I'll ask the question. So if Nikki, when I send it to you, if you can just send me back exact locations, if that's possible, you can get the exact locations, and I'll submit it to the RF engineer and see if he can come up with something. I don't guarantee you anything short term, but it's possible that we can get some kind of idea.
Yeah, it would really be a nice to have if you're using a 1 to 50,000 topographical map to where the coverage overlay extends. Right. And one final question, you kind of pointed on your map that was going to be a site in Quebec.
Well, I said they're looking at different locations around. We're looking, actually, we have mandates in Quebec and Ontario. So yeah, there will probably be some in Quebec also, yes. Yeah,
because that certainly could help coverage on the Ontario side of the river.
The idea is really to try to cover, as quickly as possible, up to 90% of the population there where they reside, either be it by tower or by fiber optics, because ExploreNet also deploys fiber optics, but naturally it's in more dense areas. If not, the cost would be pretty extensive. So the idea is to cover as many residents as possible within the next 1.5 to 2 years.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Deputy Mayor Campbell.
Again, just echoing the crowd, appreciate the presentation and, what it's going to bring to our municipality. So the footprint goes down, the towers on it. Will that be fenced and gated? Is that the idea, or what?
The towers are not automatically fenced because there's no way of climbing up the towers. They make sure that there's nothing that can get up, no kids, child. It's very safe, and it has to be safe.
Yeah.
That's one part of we have to ensure with Industry Canada that everything is done there's two different things we have to check. Number one, safety code 6, which is basically the radio waves. Okay, so make sure that everything is installed according to safety code 6, so that there's no danger for anyone in that area, and also not to climb up the tower and what have you. But if the municipality has a bylaw that obliges, some municipalities have bylaws that oblige to have it fenced in with barbed wire or stuff like that, then we'll adhere to that. But if there's none, they usually don't do it. Like I said, we make sure that nobody could climb up the tower.
And thank you. That, I guess I was just kind of picturing what the end turnkey, finished product would be, and
Right.
safety was just automatically jumped in when we're talking
Right.
permits and whatnot. So thank you very much.
Welcome.
Somebody else? Councilor Humphrey.
Just a quick question, Robert. I just was doing some figuring. You're about, between the two towers, you're about 12 and a half, 13 kilometers apart. Is that a pretty good range for the joining towers, like to give you the best coverage?
Yeah, that's approximately about what we'll do. It depends on the topography of the territory.
Yeah.
Because if I'm looking at the map on my other screen here, and they sort of come and they overlap a little bit.
Yeah.
There's some blue in there coming from another tower from the other side. So it all depends on the topography.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're in a very hilly area, 12 kilometers is not going to work.
No.
But if you're pretty flat, relatively flat, you're looking at anywhere between 10 and 15 kilometers should be a good.
Because your locations are good.
Yep.
As far as height to land. And it's pretty clear over on Lockwinner Road. You got a lot of expanse here, but you're a pretty good. They're pretty well in line if you look at the lots and concessions. So I was sort of glad to see them sort of aligning that way. So thank you for your presentation, Robert.
Yeah, Terry did a good job on finding those sites that are low impact visually, and they give excellent coverage to ExploreNet. So yeah, thanks to Terry on that one.
Good.
Any other questions? None being heard. Okay, I do have one final question, and it doesn't really reflect on the municipality, but both projects are being built on county road. So is there separate entrance permits to allow service to the towers required for both them then?
Are you asking me the question? Or are you asking?
Yeah, but while I'm asking you, you'll get your permit from the county and gate the entrance going in, then I presume.
We don't gate the entrance. We don't even put gravel down for the entrance. It's not like if it was a cellular tower, Rogers, Bell, TELUS, what they'll do is they'll put up a roadway, an access road, which is about 5 meters in width, and they'll put gravel, and they'll also put hydro poles along the road. What we do is we put them underground, so the hydro line is underground, and there's no access road. Once the tower is built, very, very rarely will a technician go out to work on the site.
Okay, thank you. But the county will be notified, right?
Absolutely, for sure. Yeah.
Okay. If there's no other questions, I want to thank both you gentlemen. Although Robert, I think you let Terry off pretty easy there. No.
I'll get him back next time.
Okay. Thank you. And the municipality is very pleased to see that we are getting service to our residents much quicker than we really thought that could happen. And I would hope that we can work together and have a date in October that they're actually up and we're working and our residents will be covered. I can tell you if we meet in public, there'd be a lot of our residents saying thank you.
Well, great. That's great to hear. And we thank you very much for this time and thank you for your great collaboration. I know Nikki has done a lot of work with Terry, which is much appreciated. And we'll work very quickly to get this up and running as quickly as we can. Thank you very much, everyone.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep.
We have the minutes of the previous meeting, June the 1st, 2021. I need a mover and a seconder. Councillor Humphreys, Councillor Webster, seconded. Any discussion on the minutes? Okay, Councillor Webster,
Favor?
Councillor Humphreys. Mike's off, Doug.
In favor. Sorry about that.
Councillor Carew,
In favor?
Deputy Mayor Campbell,
In favor?
and I'm in favor. Don't believe there's any business arising from the minutes, but speak up if there is. None. Committee reports, General Government Committee, Deputy Mayor Campbell.
Thank you, Mayor Bennett. So 8.1.1 Financial Departmental Report and Statement on page 11. I'll turn that right over to our Treasurer, Natalie. Well, the first thing we're going to hear about is the highlight on the taxes.
Right, so I highlighted this just to let everybody know that our tax rates have been submitted into Opta. Today was the deadline for all lower tiers to submit, and that will allow everybody to receive the download for Renfrew County and proceed with our final billings. I just checked there a few minutes ago and there's still a few townships that haven't submitted, so we're just waiting on 3. And that being said, I know some council members were hoping for a report for the overall percentage increase across the county, but until everybody's submitted their rates and Opta has signed off on it, we won't really have that report. So I can bring it back to council at the next general government meeting or circulate it through email. On page 13, gas tax, just that we received on June 4th our 91,562, and that was the original allotment for 2021. And we have not received notification yet on when to expect the top up of 88,000. Page 15, curbside recycling. So most of you have probably seen it in the info package about the producer responsibility regulation for the Blue Box program. So that's good news for Horton. And the transition schedule for Horton is by July 1st, 2023. So hopefully this will result in significant cost savings for the township. Page 17, annual events. So I highlighted this just to mention how well the Participation Challenge is going. According to the app, as of noon today, Horton was sitting at number 5 provincially and 22 nationally. So kudos to everybody involved in getting the residents and council and staff to participate in the challenge this year, given the circumstances and limitations. And the other one. So our audit, it has now finished. So I'm just working on the adjusting entries that were sent this week. And I know that McKillican's will be coming to council to present the final report soon. And that's all I have for that.
Okay, so that's, thank you, Natalie. That's like, again, a quick overview. I'm sure everybody's had a chance to look through. We actually now have our budgetary numbers. We can see the percentages in the far right column of where we're sitting, whether we're, you know, we've caught up or we're still progressing. Any questions from council and or committee? Mayor Bennett first.
Yeah, I just want to bring up, now that we know that our MPP has been successful on getting us moved up to 2023. I think we, as a municipality, need to send a thank you out to him for moving that forward. But I know that there is some discussion on how effective he was, but I feel it don't matter when you get a minister involved there, that at some point somebody's got to listen.
Certainly, and I agree. Like I say, we don't always hear the full story, but we know their best interests are being voiced when it's not in writing. Susan.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Campbell. I just had a couple of questions, Tally, and kind of where I was looking were at some of the variances where they seem to be fairly high. And I'm sure you've probably got some pretty simple answers to the questions. First one was on page 12 under protective services. It was the salaries one. So the year to date is 2734, but our budget's 1300. So we have quite a large variance there. Do you have an idea of why that would be?
Sorry, Susan, where was that? In the protection?
Yes, it's on page 12 under the protective services, under salaries. Just the year to date's 2700. Budget's 13, so we've kind of doubled it already.
Yeah, I'd have to look at the specifics in there, Susan.
Okay, that's
In
fine.
the detail, but
Okay.
I can get back to you on that though.
Okay, yeah, that's great. And just a couple of other quick ones as well, sort of similar, and they're kind of nitpicky, so I apologize for that. But on page 13, it's under heat, which I thought was really interesting. So this is under public works. So the heat, we have year to date of 3,100, but our budget is 617. So again, just seems like a very odd disparity.
Yeah, that shouldn't be 617. So
Okay.
that's obviously a keying error.
Okay.
Because we definitely have to budget more than $617 for heat.
Well, I kind of thought so. Perhaps it's missing a zero.
I think so, yeah.
Would be my
Seems-
guess. So you could kind of check on that one.
Okay.
On page 15, there's another one under environmental services, the hazardous waste days. So our year to date is 2874 and we're budgeted for 1200. So I wasn't quite sure what that would be again. Like that's kind of double what our budget is for that.
Yeah, with that one, I think what it is that's a year-end journal entry that is in the adjustments that we just got from Rory. So once I'm through those, because we didn't get the invoice until 2021.
Okay.
So it's technically in there, but it'll be shifted around to put it in 2020.
Okay, that's fine. Those are the only ones that just sort of stood out a little bit for me, and otherwise looks great. And just while I have the microphone, it's great to have ExploreNet coming to Horton Township. That's for sure. You'll have a lot of happy people if we can get this going by October. So congratulations on getting that done. Thank you.
Okay, so a few little alterations, and that'll be reflected on the next financial statement. Any other questions, concerns? And thank you, Susan, for bringing those to our attention. Natalie seems to have a handle and an idea where it's just a bit of catch up. So any other questions? Not hearing any. So on page, and I know you touched base on it, the 8.1.2, page 21, joint request for proposal for auditing services. So Natalie, you want to walk us through the lake group there? So.
Sure. So the recommendation is that council agree to participate in the joint RFP for external audit services with fellow LEG members, and that the township is not required to accept any proposals should they not meet requirements. As you've read in my report, the finance staff of the local efficiency group are planning on circulating an RFP for our municipal auditing services. And I attached it just for you to kind of have a look at it. And the finance staff of the LEG is meeting again on Thursday to further discuss it and proceed. So.
Questions or concerns of this report? Mayor Bennett.
I'm not in favor of this at all. But I feel that it's not the year to be switching accountants to begin with. I think we need to stabilize what we've lost over the last 18 months. And I personally, and talking to staff, find that we're very well looked after by McGilligan's to begin with. And I don't, although there's a place for this, I don't feel that it's a time and date to be doing it, and that we should be staying where we are as a municipality until everything stabilizes after COVID. And if there's a need to look at it then, but in all reality, McGilligan has been looking after us for years, and they have been very efficient what they did and how they did it. And they're always a phone call away to administer whatever they need to make sure there's corrections as we move along. So I am not in favor of actually going out for a proposal this time.
Thank you, Mayor Bennett. And again, I have to agree with the, you know, McGilligan Associates have done us well for years and have represented, you know, our reports and, you know, our year's end, and they've done a fantastic job. And we've seen, you know, quite a few changes in staff coming out doing the reports. But I have to agree with you on this. It's I'm not just ready to jump in on anything myself until we need to let the dust settle and everybody get back to a norm. And you know, certainly worth talking about. And but at this time, I believe McGilligan Associates have done an extraordinary job. So thanks, Mr. Councillor Humphreys.
Yes, thank you, Deputy Mayor. Yes, I was just noticing like how big, we're the smallest amount of budget out of about 7. So if we have to pay a 7th of some of those, like a $10 million budget and $7 million budget, you know, we're going to be subsidizing the other areas like Abbotston, Madawaska, Town of Renfrew and stuff. So I'm in favor of staying with McGilligan's. Local, questions answered, phone calls away there if you need to fill out a special form for CRA or GST stuff. They're always available, and they've been a long-term, we've been long-term customers, and they're long-term, they're looking after us too. So I think, you know, we are the smallest little bird in those 7, so I think we better just keep flying us our small nest. Thank you.
Okay.
So
Natalie.
if I can just clarify, and I mean, it's council's decision, but they have to bid on each municipality based on their size and the requirements. So it definitely wouldn't be like an even split between all the participating municipalities. It would be based on our requirements individually.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Susan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just find it's kind of an interesting concept. If I was an audit organization, I don't know whether it's a value to actually do to respond to this, because you're basically going to be putting together 5 different proposals. Anyway, I just thought it was interesting. And I did wonder, and maybe Tally knows, whether or not other groups of municipalities have done something similar. I mean, there must be some reason that it would be an advantage, but I guess I was struggling a little bit with seeing the advantage to a company to respond to this RFP when you've got to put a lot of work into responding to 5 or 6 or 7 different organizations. Yes, under one RFP, but I'm just curious. Do you know, Tally, if other groups have done this?
Honestly, I'm not sure. I think what a couple people in our group had mentioned was that a lot of us are in the same boat that we've been with McKilligan's, and which is great. I think they're great too. But this, you'd be in an agreement and you would know for 3 years what you'd be paying. Whereas right now it fluctuates based on whatever, right? So I guess it kind of evens out over the years because some years are lower and some years are higher. But yeah, I don't know if they were just thinking that just quantity would maybe bring the price down individually, like for each municipality, there'd be a savings, but
Yeah.
I honestly don't know.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens, and if the rest of them do go ahead with it, if you decide to opt out, and see if it is a cost savings. And if it is a cost savings, maybe it's something you look at for another year. I'm not sure, but it's just an
And-
interesting concept.
And like I mentioned, like we're not tied into this. And if 3 different firms give us proposals, we can stay with McKilligan's. Like
Mhm.
not everybody doesn't have to pick the same one. We can pick, if we participate, we can pick whomever we like. And
So in some ways, it would give you an opportunity to do some comparison shopping, in all honesty, and you can still go with McKilligan's at the end of the day.
yeah.
Okay, that's helpful. Thank you.
But I have to agree with you, Susan, that the model of the 6 comparisons, if it's not all in one, I wasn't picking up what they were throwing down either. But again, that's, we're on the outside looking in, but still, the model would usually be a collective better price. Away we go. Councillor Webster.
Thank you, Chair. I'm looking at this a little differently. Like, I just know if I go to purchase or RFP something, I want more prices in my and more information. And as council, I think we got to look at for the best rate for the taxpayers, and the quality of service. Now, I'm not declining the quality of McKilligan's. They've been great to us from what I've known being on council and everything. And hopefully, we can stick with them because we know their quality of work and service. But I'm just gathering this as information. Whether we use it or not is totally different. We have the option. So I don't see any reason why we wouldn't do this. We can opt out anytime. It's just information we're going to have to move forward. Take it, yes or no. But by not getting any quotes, I don't see why wouldn't we want that information. And it's hard for me to understand that, but it's council's decision. But I'm on board. Just grabbing that information, and then we can move forward. Whatever we want. We're not voting on nothing tonight. We just want gathering information.
Yeah, just as correspondence. Councillor Cleary.
I'm kind of the same mind as Councillor Webster. It's an RFP process, and it's scored on multiple different factors. Like scored on small, like one factor is financial, but the other factor is, I'm sure, and the document lists. I think it does list, and even experience with municipalities. With McKilligan's, I think they do majority of the municipalities around, and I think they do fantastic service. I think if you talk to any treasurer, they do good. It's just coming out of the leg group, and with attracting more than just one. That's why you get more players involved. You might attract a different company, for example, right? And I think as council, I think we owe it to the residents that to get the best value for the dollar. And not just give it to to one company, just because we've had them forever, right? I think there's, in my opinion, there's you keep them honest and actually have a contract. I'm sure we've had McKilligan's for a very long time, and we probably don't have a contract. Probably don't have. So it's been going on and on year from year. So I think it's the same thing with if it's this or if it's engineering firms or insurance or for anything. I think it's for the we can get the best service and best dollar for we can for the residents. And I think it's great that it's an RFP process. We put it out. Staff rates them, and maybe it's not willing to award it. But I'm sure Killigan's will bid on this, because because I think all the ones that are involved, I think, have them now, or and I'm sure they're going to bid on it, and I mean, I'm sure they're going to be aggressive because they wouldn't want to lose it either, right? So I think it's, again, I think it's keeping them honest, keep all parties honest, and actually having a contract with detail exactly what they have to do every year, and I think it will provide staff that will provide that so they know what they're exactly they have to get from them every year.
And all good points. Certainly, we don't want to turn anything away. It'd be nice to know, you know, if there's a pre-qual for the RFP for background, you might be able to see those individuals going in. But you know, it's a lot all at once. And but I mean, again, at the end of the day, as long as we're getting the same services we're accustomed to, and then it fits our budgetary and our staff complement that they can call upon. Absolutely. Again, any other questions, concerns? All good questions. Thank you, everyone, for your input. And I'll turn it back over to you, Mayor Bennett.
Thank you. Transportation and Environmental Services, Chair Webster.
Great. Thank you, Mayor Bennett. So 8.2, 8.2.1, the test chair report. So I'm going to pass this over to our Public Works Manager, Adam Knapp, page 39 of your package.
Background is the concrete fuel containment pad. It was decided to split the cost 60% between the fire department, 60 for the public works, 30 for fire, and 10% for recreation. That request for quotation has been released. There's been a couple requests so far, so we're hoping to get that moving forward. It should close this month, end of the month on the 24th. The refrigerant degassing was approved, so we're going to advertise once we have an actual formal resolution on the Horton Corner and other media, just to let the public know that we will be performing degassing at the landfill. That was awarded to Sheaves. I have received WSIB and insurance from them, and have informed attendants to notify the public that we will be providing this service. And boundary road agreement. Horton contacted the town of Brentford to request 20% funding allocated to the shared rehabilitation of McBride Road. The town of Brentford rejected the request, citing that they have assumed cost and responsibility for operation and rehabilitation of Graham Avenue. The agreement is informal, and the township of Horton has maintained the southern ditch line of Graham Avenue from the outlet of number 44 of the Thompson storm system in the past years, as well as installed LED lighting upgrades on the street. It was evidence provided to show that we have taken on those costs. It turned out to be a good thing, because we want to move forward with formalizing an agreement where we would assume all costs for McBride for any services, excluding Admiston Brumley's portion, which we will work towards finalizing an agreement there. And the town of Brentford in turn will get a formal agreement for Graham. The landfill site fees comparison, information was provided by Councillor Couleroux on behalf of Whitewater Township to neighboring municipalities, just to compare costs. We're very comparable, if not a little bit below the average neighbors. Public Works, for my summer hours, I've requested to have my hours switched to a 4-day work week, working from 6 a.m. till 3:15 p.m. I find this is key with the rest of the Public Works Department. At the time, I'm the only person in on Fridays. We are a very small crew. It does take all hands on, so I find the communication barrier of me coming in later than them and leaving at different times was causing issues. So I definitely feel to fully support the team, these hours will work better, because I'm in at the same time as them and leave just a little bit before them. So I think it will work out in the township's benefit. Basically, it's for an interim basis if there's nothing in policy. So at any given time, if it's not working or the council feels that I need to switch back, I'm definitely in favor of whatever hours they would prefer me to work. other business, Mayor Bennett requested that we work on Thompson Hill to get the debenture out this year as quick as possible and see what we can do for in-house works this year. Public Works Superintendent myself have went through the township or Thompson Hill, noting areas of improvement to dig out rocks and repair some of the surface to get us to the point where we are ready to move with the full project next year. There was some discussion about notifying the residents of our intent and commitment to move forward with this project next year. And I think that is a very good idea to let the town residents in that area know that definitely we're keeping them in mind and we have a plan being put together. So MTO contacted me in regard to the twinning of Highway 17, and they are going to be bringing a delegation forward to purchase some of the land for the trail underneath the highway where it would be overpassing it. And they would still allow us to use the land to keep all of our agreements for any trail purposes, but they would want to own a small portion of it so they wouldn't have to go through us to get any permits or necessary paperwork to do any maintenance or emergency repairs, closures, etc. And one more additional note, the request for quotation for the municipal supply of a boat launch closed and there was no submissions for it. I think it's due to the volatility in the marketplace right now and the supply. It would be very hard for a company, I think, to procure the goods to build the dock, let alone lock into a price with the way that everything is fluctuating. So I'd be looking for direction at the upcoming meeting of how council would want me to proceed.
Great. Thank you, Adam. I just want to say what a great job the committee's done and this council in regards to Whitten Road. Looks fantastic, and I'm so pleased that we did the whole road and put the turnaround at the end, and it's all done under budget and everything's good that way. So congratulations to everybody. Great team effort there. Any questions, comments? Our report. Yeah, Mayor Bennett.
I just would like to comment on the dock. Is our existing dock, Adam, good enough to and safe enough to actually get us through this season? Because even if we do get this out to tender, we're not likely going to see anything be available down there this year to put in the water, especially with the supply of materials right at the moment, because they're normally 6 weeks away right at the moment for supply of materials. So I'm just wondering if there's something we can do to at least give the residents a boat launch.
The dock has been installed last week. I have not inspected it since it's been floated. I would definitely like to go inspect it thoroughly. I do agree that it does need to be replaced, but I do think it is sufficient to get us through the year. I'll definitely do a more thorough investigation to see if there is any safety issues that could be addressed to make sure that the residents are provided for this year. And I do agree that even if we do have bids come in on this, if we reissue, I think we should do it for a longer period to try to get more interest. And I definitely do some calling myself to try to procure some interest in it. And I think, I agree, we wouldn't see it this year for sure. This is looking into next year, just with the volatility in the market that we've all had to deal with over the pandemic.
Great, thank you. Just in maybe Adam, take care of any safety concerns down there, as Mayor Bennett pointed out, but also if we could do that by our next test committee, so we can bring something back to this to council. That would be great.
Absolutely. Nikki has done some good work creating some signage, and that's been installed. We've done definitely some work to improve visually and safety issues, and I'll definitely get something for next test committee meeting to move forward with.
Great. Any other comments, questions of the report? No, seeing none, I will pass back to you, Mayor.
Thank you. Correspondence summary, information correspondence. Who would like to take the lead on that? Councillor Humphreys.
I always have something to say. So yes, the Blue Box program is a wonderful help, but I don't know whether the neighbors are probably jealous of us getting it 2 years sooner than Amston, Bromley and Laurentian Valley. But maybe he has more liberal votes up there, so he wasn't worried about looking after us guys down in Horton. The second thing, there's quite a conversation about the OPP Communication Center getting closed down in Smith Falls and moving to Aurelia, and that's causing a lot of grief for anybody in Eastern Ontario. You know, it's not an hour and a half away, it's 5 hours away, 4 hours away to try and do things. So, and the third thing I had is not on the info package, but it was the sad news that came out of the residential schools with all the deaths of all those children. So that was in the center of my of this conversation. So thank you very much. Keep them in our prayers.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor Campbell.
Mine was just, I was going to touch on the blue box as well, and you know, it'll be a savings down the road. And as Natalie or staff has pointed out, that you know, July 1st, 2023 will be the transition point there, and we'll hope we'll be seeing some, you know, achieving some diversion targets and practices. I know there's some, you'll see a few more definitions pop up of future waste considerations as well. So there'll be a savings coming down the road that we'd be glad to take on. So I think that's where I'm going to stay, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor Webster.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, back to the blue box thing. Great news, and I just want to thank you, Mayor. I know you were a voice in Mr. Yakubuski's ear in this regard, and you know, the Horton taxpayers should be well versed that you did have input in this decision of moving that date up. So thank you very much for that, and it's all great news for us. So for our tax rates and moving forward. But thank you.
Councillor Carew.
I think Council Webster stole the exact word for word. I think I was going to say, no, I just it's phenomenal that you know, that we have moved. I think it was 2 years ahead, right? It's going to save the taxpayers, and I know Mayor Bennett, you know, your voice to John, I think helped a lot. So for myself, thank you for that. And then another note, it's interesting with the household hazardous waste. Will that affect a lot of us, Adam? And will the program stay the same? That the Renfrew, that our partnership with Renfrew, will it stay the same, or will that program be like in stores kind of thing? Do you know any information yet?
From everything I've read, there's a window of about 2 years where they have to keep the same status quo of services, and then after that they can start to fine tune to their needs. But basically what we have in place now, they have to offer the same or higher.
Thank you. That's it.
Okay, so I just want to mention the recycling. We have to give a lot of credit to John. Doesn't matter how many how strong my voice is or whatever. It's the people on the other end have to listen, and if they're not listening or don't have the time for it, it's not effective. But our MPP is very good and very available to be chatting to when he's not busy, because I can call him Saturday night, Sundays, whenever, and he'll respond and take the time to listen to what has to be said. So thank you, gentlemen, for thanking him and myself for working on this project, but 99% of it goes to John Yakubuski for actually accomplishing our voice and getting heard. Thank you. Anything else on information correspondence? Action correspondence. Resolution of support funding of abandoned cemeteries. Want to read that out, Nikki, please?
So, whereas municipalities in Horton have been made responsible for abandoned cemeteries within their boundaries and are required by Funeral Burial and Cremation Services Act 2002 to ensure that cemetery grounds, including all lots, structures, and markers, are maintained to ensure the safety of the public and to preserve the dignity of the cemetery. And whereas cemeteries are not only symbols of respect, preserving the memory of families, prominent citizens, and local history, some cemeteries are landmarks themselves and hold great historical value worldwide. And whereas preservation repairs to older cemeteries are very costly, requiring the specialized services of stonemasons and archaeologists. And whereas the care and maintenance funds of abandoned cemeteries are generally non-existent or so small as to produce insufficient annual interest to cover even the cost of lawn care at the site. Now, therefore, the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Horton hereby urges the Government of Ontario to immediately provide funding sources for municipalities for the ongoing maintenance and preservation repair of abandoned cemeteries in their care. And further, that this resolution be forwarded to the Bereavement Authority of Ontario, the Minister of Government and Consumer Affairs, the Rural Ontario Municipal Association, and MVP John Makbesky.
Thank you. Questions on the resolution? You want to do this all at the end, Nikki? You want to do this one now?
Yeah, we'll do it all at the end.
Is there any questions on what Nikki just read out? Councillor Webster.
Not so much a question, but I'm just reading this, and then as I read it, it sunk in a little bit. But hearing Nikki saying it, I'm looking at it and I'm thinking we could just change the top logo. I think this is widespread throughout Ontario and rural municipalities in regards to this, because we've heard it, through our local cemeteries coming outreach to this council. So yeah, I'm in support of this. So we'll see that later on, but I just want to make that comment. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? So this is in front of us, so I do have a comment. That I don't think this goes quite far enough to address problems like Horton has with the town of Renfrew. The town of Renfrew does not support the township cemeteries. Although they're not abandoned, the boards are having a very difficult time financially to look after them. And I think that this resolution should address the fact that that every municipality that uses the facility has a cemetery ground should be responsible to contribute to or at least administer what happens. Because the township of Horton has actually taken full burden of looking after the cemeteries, and as they get shorter in funds, and it's happening, it's going to fall back on the taxpayers of the township of Horton, and that in its share is about 50% coming from the town of Renfrew. So if we're going to send that out, there should be another one go along with it, by trying to get support to have the adjoining municipalities contribute to the cemetery. Deputy Mayor Campbell.
I remember when this came up at the early stage of the council, or this term of council, and I want to thank Councillor Webster and yourselves for going and putting in, taking your time and going and help with the maintenance and beautification of the cemeteries. I don't know if Mayor Bennett, if the audience with the town of Renfrew, I know we're speaking about meeting with them to go through it. Do you remember or recall what came out of that?
Well, basically what come out of it at the end of the day, that there was no meeting, but that was supposed to be scheduled by the Renfrew. to move forward to see where we stand with it, and that never did. Councillor Humphries.
Yeah, I totally agree. Really, Renfrew doesn't have, I know they have the Catholic cemetery on top of the hill there on Bruce Street, but they don't have a cemetery. So they're coming into North Horton, they're coming into Rosebank, they're coming into Thompson Hill. So they really don't have any of their own cemeteries. So they should be paying their share, and it should be going through all the funeral homes, that the money comes to the township. Toronto's getting too much money, put it that way. They're just giving us back like 1% interest on our investment and all the selling of all the plots and stuff. So it's the same thing at Castleford. The cottagers really like it. They're from Ottawa, they're from Kingston. They're being buried at Castleford, but who's looking after it? Like, God bless Rick Lester from up there mowing the lawn and keeping things tidy, but everybody has to share. And our heritage, which is so important to the valley, with our families been around here for 200 and plus years, and they're buried in North Horton, and you walk through that cemetery and work there as a kid, so you know there's a lot of history there. So I think everybody has to do the same letter, and Renfrew should really be on the ball and do a better letter saying, yes, we have to step up to the plate and do more and support us financially too. So that's all I have to say. Thank you, Mayor Member.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments on that? None being heard. We'll move into bylaws then. 2021-32 users fee and charges bylaw. That starts on page 44.
So the changes made to this is just to include Adam's changes brought at the last council. So this is just the updated version of it.
Okay, would you like to highlight the changes then, Adam, please?
Yes, it's to Schedule B of the bylaw, waste site fees, refrigerant degassing fee for non-hydrocarbon based refrigerants. That types that we are not accepting are listed below, and the cost is $25 per unit. This is for ease of payment, as Billy does not carry an excess amount of change. Sheaves is charging us $23 per unit, so the township does see a $2 profit, but the prices will increase, and this keeps everything easy, and I think it's a reasonable cost.
Okay. Questions of Adam? No questions? Deputy Mayor Campbell.
Just again, it's nice for us to review. I think annually, just to refresh ourselves with this and keep this up to date. We're seeing more and more coming out to the landfill site, and again, here's our on page 46 for the tower. Over 30 feet is a $5,000 fee. Well, I have no idea that was in there before, but there's I assume that the update will be put on our website or for everyone to view. Nikki, Adam.
Yeah, all of our past bylaws get posted on the website.
So again, just a good job keeping up on it, and I went through it, and again, some of the stuff I just didn't realize that we were still doing it or did it, and I thought some of it was shared. So it's just good to see this in an overview. Thank you.
Any other questions of the bylaw? None being heard, Nikki, we're moving this all into one group then, or you want a motion on it now?
We'll save it for the end.
Yeah, okay. Notice to file motion for next council meeting. None being heard. Council and staff members' concerns. None being heard. Motion for reconsideration, debate on motion to reconsider only. None. Resolutions.
That council accept the delegation information from ExploreNet regarding the transmitter tower as information.
I need a mover, please. Seconder, moved by Councillor Weber, second by Councillor Carew. Any discussion? All in favor? Councillor Humphries,
In favor.
Deputy Mayor Campbell,
In favor?
Councillor Webster,
In favor?
Councillor Carew,
Favor?
and I'm in favor.
That council accept the financial department report and statement as information.
Deputy Mayor Campbell. Councillor Humphries. Discussion? Deputy Mayor Campbell,
In favor?
Councillor Humphries,
In favor.
Councillor Carew,
In favor?
Councillor Webster,
In favor?
and I'm in favor.
So I just need a clarification on the joint RFP. Were we moving forward with that, or are we just accepting as information?
I think the easiest way, Nikki, because it's got to go out, and I'm a council will step in here, but it's got to go to the committee to see who's in favor and who's not in favor, and then I believe it's got to come back to us, but maybe not. But that's my take on where we were going with it tonight. Is that how council feels, or do you want to vote on it? Councilor Carew.
Do you want to read the resolution and then? 'Cause I think the resolution was to proceed. Is that correct?
Yeah, so it's that council agreed to participate in the joint RFP for external audit purposes with fellow LEG members, and that the township is not required to accept any proposals.
Okay. I'm going to make it easy. I'm going to ask for a recorded vote. And then we know where everybody stands.
Okay.
Okay, Councilor Carew.
So yeah, so I think we have to put it on the table first, right? So I'll
Yeah.
first motion it. Yeah.
Yep.
Second.
Deputy Mayor Campbell seconded. Councilor Carew.
In favor.
Councilor Webster.
So 4, sorry.
4 in favor?
Councilor Humphries.
In favor.
Deputy Mayor Campbell.
In favor?
And I'm against.
That council accept the test committee chair's report as information.
Councilor Webster. Seconder, Deputy Mayor Campbell. Any discussion? Councilor Carew.
In favor.
Councilor Humphries.
In favor.
Councilor Webster.
In favor?
Deputy Mayor Campbell.
In favor?
And I'm in favor.
That upon recommendation from the test committee, can council allocate an upset amount of $9,000 toward the installation of a concrete fuel containment pad at the Public Works Yard, and that this concrete pad installation be funded through the modernization reserves.
Mover. Councilor Humphries. Second. Councilor Webster. Any discussion? Deputy Mayor Campbell.
In favor?
Councilor Webster. Counselor Webster,
In favor?
Counselor Carew,
In favor?
Counselor Humphries,
In favor?
and I'm in favor.
That upon recommendation from the test committee, council contract the services of refrigerant degassing at the Horton landfill site to Sheaves Mechanical Heating and Cooling.
I have a mover. Counselor Humphries, second by Counselor Webster. Deputy Mayor Campbell,
Favor?
Counselor Humphries,
In favor?
Counselor Webster,
In favor?
Counselor Carew,
In favor?
and I'm in favor.
That upon recommendation from the test committee, council agreed to move forward with entry into a boundary road agreement with the town of Renfrew and for McBride Road and Graham Avenue. And that it is intended Horton Township shall assume responsibility for all expenses related to operations, labor, maintenance, rehabilitation, and construction of McBride Road, excluding Admaston Bromley's funding portion, and that it is intended the town of Renfrew assumes responsibility for all expenses related to operations, labor, maintenance, rehabilitation, and construction of Graham Avenue. And further, that it is intended that development, permitting, and bylaw enforcement shall be responsibility of the governing body assigned to the property's roll number. And further, that staff shall work towards finalizing a boundary road agreement with Admaston Bromley Township for McBride Road and Golf Course Road and the northern section of Blackburn Road.
Do I have a mover? Counselor Humphries, second by? Do not have Counselor Carew. Deputy Mayor Campbell.
Oh, sorry, I have a
Oh,
question.
you want to do discussion?
Yeah, it's on
Okay.
clarification, sorry. So the agreements would come back to council, is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, Deputy Mayor Campbell,
In favor?
Counselor Humphries,
In favor?
Counselor Webster,
In favor?
Counselor Carew,
In favor?
I'm in favor.
That upon recommendation from the test committee, council allow the public works manager to go from a 5-day work week to a 4-day work week, remaining at the regular 35 hours per week, and that this will align with the rest of the public works staff during their summer hours as per policy. And further, that this be deemed a trial run in 2021 with the potential of becoming permanent in the future upon review by the CAO clerk.
Okay, moved by Deputy Mayor Campbell. Second by Counselor Humphries. Discussion? Counselor Webster.
I think I would like to add in there that it can be revoked at any time rather than for a season. I think that was in our original with Tess. I just want to keep that in there that, you know, upon this council's decision that we can revoke it at any time. If we can add that, sorry.
Okay.
Deputy Mayor Campbell.
So I'll withdraw my motion if it's being rescinded.
Okay. Who seconded that? Counselor Humphries, you
Yeah.
want to withdraw also?
Yes, I will.
And along with that, Nikki, I think it needs to be at the end, it says upon review by the CEO, I think it needs to be stated that council has to be part of that review.
Okay.
Whenever you're ready, you can read it out again, please.
Yeah, thanks.
maybe when we're waiting on Nikki, we could, there's no rush, Nick. I'm just saying,
Okay.
I got a little bit of information on the digital signs from Councillor Sidney this morning for Renfrew sign. It's 10 ads an hour, $650 is Plan B. The other one's quite a bit more money. Plan C is $325, and be probably more our line. It's the ads are on every, like, it's very fast, and they want to work to get that figured out. But he just mentioned a couple prices. I just wanted to relay that to the council if we're going to use their signs along with for our advertising too. So they have 4 signs, $360, 1,000 worth. So we might as well make use of them.
Councillor Carew.
If it's okay, I forgot one thing in council members concerns. I was wondering if over the next week or so, if we could think about actually going back to council chambers or not. I'm not sure. Maybe if each one of us can maybe talk to CAO and see what their thoughts are.
Well, I've had a brief discussion with Hope, and the hope is to be back in the council chambers here after our August break. That's what we're hoping for. We know we can't be in the council chambers until at least the second week of July anyway. So we're hoping that there's 2 more meetings at Zoom, and then we should be ready to go back into the council chambers as long as COVID doesn't come back and say we're putting this in.
Okay, do you want me to read out the new resolution?
Yep.
Okay. That upon recommendation from the test committee, council allowed the public works manager to go from a 5-day work week to a 4-day work week, remaining at the 35 hours per week, and that this align with the rest of the public works staff during their summer hours as per policy, and that this be deemed a trial run in 2021 with the potential of becoming permanent in the future upon review by the CAO clerk and council members. And further, that council can terminate the public works manager's summer hours schedule should they not cooperate with other hours and or jobs.
Okay, do I have a mover for that motion? Deputy Mayor Campbell. A second by Councillor Webster. Discussion.
Adam through the chair. Is that fine, Adam, the wording?
Yeah, I'm fine with it either way. Like I said, it's just, I really like being part of the tailgate talks and stuff in the morning. I find it keeps everything moving forward a lot better. They're sometimes waiting for communication, locates direction of how to proceed with some of these construction jobs that are planned. And I think it'll benefit the township and myself to have a little more free time, but I don't mind the earlier hours and the longer days to, get it done. I'm used to working a 12+ hour day. So this is fine by me, whichever direction council wishes to proceed. If it works, great. If not, pull the plug at any time. I'm fine with it.
Okay, thank you, Adam. Thank you, Mayor Bennett.
Any other discussion? Councillor Carew.
In favor.
Humphries.
In favor.
Deputy Mayor Campbell.
In favor.
Councillor Webster.
In favor.
And I'm in favor.
That council accept the CAO clerk's information memo for the June 15th, 2021.
Mover. Councillor Humphries, second by Councillor Carew. Discussion. Deputy Mayor Campbell.
In favor.
Councillor Webster.
In favor.
Councillor Humphries.
In favor.
Councillor Carew.
In favor.
I'm in favor.
That the Council of Township of Horton supports Resolution 68-21 from the Township of Rideau Lakes, and whereas municipalities in Ontario have been made responsible for abandoned cemeteries within their boundaries and are required by Funeral, Burial, and Cremation Acts Services Act 2002 to ensure that the cemetery grounds, including all lots, structures, and markers are maintained to ensure the safety of the public and to preserve the dignity of the cemetery. And whereas cemeteries are not only symbols of respect, preserving the memory of families, prominent citizens, and local history, some cemeteries are landmarks in themselves and hold great historical value worldwide. Whereas preservation repairs to older cemeteries are very costly, requiring the specialized services of stonemasons and archaeologists. And whereas the care and maintenance funds of abandoned cemeteries are generally non-existent or so small as to produce insufficient annual interest to cover even the cost of lawn care at the site. Now therefore, the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Horton hereby urges the Government of Ontario to immediately provide funding sources for municipalities for their ongoing maintenance and preservation repair of abandoned cemeteries in their care. And further, that this resolution be forwarded to the Bereavement Authority of Ontario, the Minister of Government and Consumer Affairs, the Rural Ontario Municipal Association, and MPP John Yakubuski.
Do I have a mover? Deputy Mayor Campbell. Second by Councillor Humphrey. Discussion? Councillor Webb.
Yeah, just into your comments, Mayor Bennett, I think we should reach out, whether we're going to set up a committee or whatever, to have a discussion with the town of Renfrew in regards to our scenario. It might be just unique, but I'm in total agreement that we have to do something, but I think that can be set aside in regards to that, and any help in forming that committee, I'd like to be a part of. But I think that's the way to go, and then we can bring it to their council for consideration.
Thank you. Well, we'll discuss that through whichever committee form, and then bring it back to council, if that's okay. Okay. Any other discussion? All in favor? Well, Deputy Mayor Campbell.
Certainly in favor.
Councillor Webster.
In favor.
Councillor Humphries.
In favor.
Councillor Carew.
In favor.
And I'm in favor.
That council adopt the following bylaw, 2021-32, user fees and charges bylaw.
Do I have a mover? Councillor Webster, second by Councillor Humphries. Discussion? Deputy Mayor Campbell.
Favor.
Councillor Carew.
In favor.
Councillor Webster.
Favor.
Humphries.
In favor.
And I'm in favor.
And we have no in camera.
Okay. So you need a confirming bylaw then?
Yep.
Okay, I need a mover and a seconder for a confirming bylaw. And by the first one's going to be Deputy Mayor Campbell, I know that. The seconder, please. Councillor Carew. Councillor Carew.
In favor.
Councillor Humphries.
In favor.
Councillor Webster.
Favor.
Deputy Mayor Campbell.
In favor.
And I'm in favor. So we are adjourned. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Nikki.
And a reminder, we have Protective Services Chair on Thursday at 5.
No, it was last Thursday, but it was canceled.
Okay. Oh, I thought it was changed to the 17th.
Yeah, I thought it was pushed
Oh,
to this
sorry.
week.
I must have read that wrong.
I believe we're still on YouTube.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Nikki. Great job.